Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thanks a lot for checking today's video out and making some time to watch it. It's always very grateful for that, much appreciated around here. Guys, today I'm sort of going to have a little fun little video. I'm going to give you the Intuitive Angling Randy Blockett State of the Sport address for 2024. Going to sort of reflect back on the past year, sort of give you my thoughts on the industry, how the sport's doing, direction it's headed. And also I'd be curious to hear your guys' opinion on that too after we get done with that. And before we get started, guys, just a big thank you out there for everybody that has been supporting the channel all year long by using my Tackle Warehouse link that I put in the description and all the other links I put that help support the channel out. So if you're one of those people that have been using the links, I wanted to give you guys a big thanks for that. Okay, guys, State of the Sport 2024. Now, a lot of you guys, when I get done this, you're going to come across, it's like, oh, Randy, again, another negative video out there. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just going to be realistic. I'm not going to sugarcoat it out there and sort of give you guys a viewpoint from the real world, in my opinion on that. Now, there's a lot of different things going on right now. First of all, before we get into that, I do want to start out on a positive note, and I want to say, the one thing that will never change about bass fishing and that is always great about the sport is the ability for us to get out there and connect with nature. Never ever underestimate the therapeutic healing aspect that fishing, just being out on the water, has on you. That is always going to be fishing's most valuable asset. Everything else that we deal with, everything else that I'm talking about here in this video, is sort of fluff. It's secondary to the fact that you can always fish. I don't care if it's using a cane pole sitting on the bank. It's going to make you feel good, and it's going to be good for you to get out there and fish and to connect with nature and to feel the elements on your face, the wind in your face, the rain on you, the cold, the heat, whatever. It's good for you. It really is. It strengthens your body. It strengthens you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Everything about it, being outside, is going to be a plus for you. So from that standpoint, that is the thing that's always going to remain great about fishing. Now let's talk about some of the real world applications. There's several different areas I want to touch on this. First of all, let's touch on sort of the economic condition of the sport. Now, one of the things, I've been in this a long time, guys. I've been doing this competitively for 40 years, and I can tell you, as far as the economics of the bass fishing, the industry out there, it's a constant ebb and flow. There's constant highs, constant lows, based upon a lot of uncontrolled variables that don't have anything to do with people purchasing boats or motors or tackle out there. I mean, the situation we find ourselves in right now is, the United States economy is strong. We've got record low unemployment. We're creating record amount of jobs every month. Inflation is dropping. Federal Reserve announced they're probably going to have 3 or 4 interest rate cuts next year. The economy is good from that standpoint, but it's not being reflected in the terms of boat and motor sales and tackle sales right now, because what happened on that is there was a boom of boat sales during COVID because interest rates were really low because, the Federal Reserve was trying to stimulate, commerce and people buying stuff during the pandemic, so they dropped the interest rates. A lot of people bought boats. It got a lot of boat dealerships in trouble because they had huge inventories out there. And then, once we recovered from the pandemic and the Federal Reserve had to increase interest rates in order to curb inflation that was caused by, supply chain shortages overseas, all over the world, that slowed the boat market down. So boat sales right now, boat and motor sales are pretty slow, and tackle sales have been off also, simply for the same reason. It's like during COVID, when everybody was fishing and we had all that situation, everybody was on the water, everybody was spending a lot of money on tackle. Now people have cut back on a little bit. And again, it's just one of the natural ebbs and flows of the tournament world out there. I'm not concerned about it at all. I mean, I've been through it decade after decade or after decade. It is what it is. You're always going to have peaks and valleys in the industry from that standpoint. So that's one end of it there. Now, the next part of it, guys, let's talk a little bit about you can't really talk about 2024 in terms of the state of the sport without addressing this whole thing about electronic technology and tournament competition, because that's a big part of it. That's a big driving force of our entire bass fishing world out there. Some of you guys out there don't fish tournaments, don't care about tournaments. We'll get into that a little bit, although this is still affecting you. The biggest problem, or the biggest negative as far as 2024, in my opinion, and this is no surprise to everybody, guys, is the complete, total, 100% takeover domination of forward-facing sonar in our sport. Not only just in bass fishing, but in every aspect of fishing. I don't care if it's crappie, muskie, catfishing, or whatever, on a global level, guys. I have people sending messages all the time from Europe, from Australia, from South Africa, everywhere, guys, talking about how the forward-facing sonar is impacting their fisheries for whatever species they're fishing for on an alarming level. From that standpoint, guys, we have seen a reduction in the quality of fishing in 2024, unlike anything I've ever seen about it. Guys, I have fished here in the Missouri Ozarks since the late 1960s. I have a bunch of friends the same way. I'm in contact with these guys. These are guys that have fished the Ozarks just like I have forever and ever. We talk about the fishing, we talk about everything about it. Every single one of my buddies, bar none, every single one of them say the same thing. What is the matter with our lakes around here? Fishing sucks. It's hard to catch them. We can't catch them like we used to anymore. They're not where they are. They just don't think the fish are here. And from that standpoint, guys, I really believe what we are seeing now, it's a combination from so many people fishing during the pandemic and the influx of forward-facing sonar technology, that type of stuff. The influx of new anglers into the sport during COVID, it killed a ton of bass. Make no mistake about it, guys. There have been millions and millions and millions of bass taken out during that period from people that were fishing more, keeping bass. And then when you start talking about the technology aspect of it, you got to talk about the delayed mortality, all the barotrauma issues, pulling these fish up out of deep water from live scope. All that stuff plays a role in it. As far as the quality of fishing, we simply don't have the fish in the lakes like we used to. And don't pay attention. If you guys hear, studies don't show that, Randy, that's not true. Guys, those studies are a bunch of bullshit. I'm telling you right now. You know what the studies are for a lot of that stuff? They'll talk to some dudes at the boat ramp to see how many fish they caught that day. Like no fisherman would ever exaggerate or lie or not tell the truth about their fishing up there. Eyewitness testimony, there's a reason why eyewitness testimony is the lowest, least credible form of evidence in a trial, is because you can't rely on that. You can't, don't give me this that we've got scientific data about the quality of our fishing by surveying people at the ramp. It doesn't work that way. And when you start talking about tournament weights in relationship to, we have higher tournament weights than we do years ago, again, that doesn't make any difference because we also know more about fishing. We have better equipment, we have better electronic technology, we have better rod and reel technology, boats, all that type of stuff have created this illusion that the fishing is sustainable, when in reality, when you talk to people like all my buddies that I talk about that don't buy into that illusion, they know the truth, that the fishing quality has gone downhill in 2024 like we've never seen it. I have never seen it, guys. I'm telling you right now, I fish more than 99% of you dudes out there. I'm on the lake a lot and I see it. The fish are simply not there like they were. You can deny it, you can try to spin it and you can try to sugarcoat it, but that's the fact of it. Now, given that, that is not the end of the world. What you have to do is the first thing you have to do is you have to acknowledge that we have that problem, and then you have to address the situation in order to improve it. One of the great things about bass fishing is it is a renewable resource if you have responsible people over that resource. And right now, we don't really have that, in my opinion. People see fish and bass as a resource to be exploited and used by people that buy licenses. And at some point, you have got to step back and say, we've got to start looking at the bigger picture down the road for the problems this is going to cause our lakes down the future. So when you look at it from that point of view, the thing that we have to do is we have to start working with the state game and fish departments. We have to start limiting this technology. The technology needs to be put in the hands of the conservation departments and not the anglers. We have to improve habitat restoration. We have to set stricter creel limits. We have to put slot limits in there. We got to do what we have to do to improve our fishery so it doesn't continue to go downhill like it has in 2024. So from that standpoint, that's something we got to work on. Another thing about 2024, guys, is we simply have an explosion in tournaments. There are way too many tournaments out there. You guys, none of you guys saying that I've been talking about that new no live scope tournaments. Like, yeah, Randy, you talk about more tournaments, that tournaments are bad, and you bring on another tournament circuit. That's because that tournament circuit is needed. We need to get rid of some of the other ones and let this one in there. The point is, we have more fishermen on the water. We have more tournaments on the water, which increases pressure on the lakes. It makes the fishing more difficult for everybody else. So in my opinion, as far as the state of the Bass Fishing Union, we have to have stricter, tighter regulations on permits issued for these tournaments on lakes. The lake managers can't be issuing these tournament permits at will like they do and let 10 or 12 tournaments go out on one lake in one day. They have got to start limiting that a little bit. So anyway, guys, without making this an hour-long video, that's just a few things that come to the top of my mind as far as the state of the sport this year. Throw me some of your guys out. Let me know what you guys think about it, and we'll talk later. See you.